Hey guys, what's up? So we continue our Revolt of 1857 series, and in this lesson I'll be talking about the causes. Most of us know that Enfield rifles and cartridges and pig and cow fat, these are the main reasons, or bone dust in the atta or the floor. But apart from that, there are n number of reasons why this revolt took place. This is presented by me, Roman Seni. Do follow me on an academy. See, first of all, there are most important are the political causes. Now the native rulers realize that East India Company is very greedy. It has come solely for its own purposes. It is thirsty for power, land, resources. They backstabbed many of them during wars, and they charged enormous amount of money from both the losing party as well as the party they are serving for. Okay, all the losses were recovered from the belligerent parties. Okay, Britishers always gained from wars. Okay, they served only the side, they sided with the side which served their best interest. Okay, so this was clear till now. Now this planted lots of doubts. Maybe next time they will not favor us, or maybe they'll screw us next time. So everybody was very scared. Then actually there were some policies like subsidiary alliance system by Lord Wellesley. Okay, then doctrine of lapse by Lord Dalhousie. They were very very exploitative, expansionist policies. Okay, and then the doubt became very very clear because they prevented the inheritance. Like Lord Dalhousie properly prevented the inheritance and denied the right to succession. Okay, in certain cases, if especially if the male heir is not there. So obviously these are the main causes. Then the doctrine of lapse by Lord Dalhousie, the following states were annexed. Like you don't need to remember the year, just sometimes some stupid people ask the sequence in which they were annexed. So Satara in 1848, Jaipur and Sambhalpur in 1849, Bhagat in 1850, Udaipur. Okay, this Udaipur is not of Rajasthan. Okay, it is in Chhattisgarh. So people make this confusion. Jhansi, obviously, and Nagpur. Jhansi is the most famous case of doctrine of lapse because of Rani Lakshmibai. But all these you need to remember. Now, very, very important question is Awadh was annexed into the British East India on the grounds of misgovernment or alleged misgovernance or whatever you want to call it. It was not because of any other reason. It was, this is asked a lot of time. Then Punjab and Lower Burma, which is also called as Pegu earlier, now it is called as Bago. It was annexed through war. So just remember, Punjab wars everybody knows. First Anglo-Sikh war, second Anglo-Sikh war, 1845-46 and 48 and 49. So we will talk about it later when we talk about the modern Indian history. So now the third important cause is Prince Fakhruddin of Delhi. He died in 1856. What happened was the next prince was stripped of royal title by Lord Canning, and the traditional Mughals who used to live in these massive forts and these residents, they were thrown out. They were kicked out. Okay. Then it was a really embarrassing situation for mighty Mughal Empire, which was there for last 200, 300 years total, and they were completely kicked out from their own houses. So that was like very very shameful. Now those groups of people like artists, singers, etc., Maulvis, Pandits were completely dependent on these classes. Now they will be also affected, right? Because they were on the patronage of these classes. So when they are affected, so obviously they are also affected. Now we will talk about, let's say, administrative causes. So there was massive corruption, obviously, especially at the lower level in police, courts, bureaucracy, persist till date in some form or the other. Now what happened, very very important, is earlier the ruler or the king, you had a feeling that he was from your own house. He belonged, you belonged. Okay, so there was certain sense of belongingness to Mother India or our country land. But now it was a completely alien ruler who was ruling you from thousands of miles away. So that was first time in India's history that was happening, right? Because earlier ruler used to come from outside, but they used to settle down in India. But now there was no sense of belongingness. Now there were parallel events going on, like first Afghan war. Obviously nobody has ever won in Afghanistan till date. No country won. They just stay there and come back. It's very difficult to beat Afghanistan in their own backyard. So obviously overall Afghanistan won. But in Punjab wars, like first Anglo-Sikh war and sorry for this, it is second Anglo-Sikh war. So obviously the winner was the British. Okay, but still there was massive losses in Crimean wars, which happened between Russia and the Allies. Like obviously UK won, but like France, UK were on the one side, Russia was on the other side. There were many other allies, but still there was massive losses. Similarly in Santhal uprisings. So British suffered heavy losses of resources. I'm not talking about the defeat in the war, but there was heavy losses of resources. Okay, so that has a lot of effect on your governance and all. Now, economic causes was drain of wealth theory, obviously everybody knows, which was provided later, but technically drain of wealth was going on here also. Now, land revenue system like permanent settlement system, mahalwari, rayatwari, we will talk about it later. They were extremely exploitative, right? So extreme taxation lead to money lending at very high interest rate, like exorbitant. Now, emergence of new landlordism, peasants become very, very furious. Now, traditional Indian economy was obviously completely destroyed because of industrial revolution. Raw material was taken from India, and large finished product of low quality machine was dumped into Indian market. So, handicrafts industry were dealt a mortal blow. They were on their funeral pyre. They died completely destroyed. Artisans were left unemployed. Now, this is a very key line which I have written. They were looking for jobs in agricultural sector, but the jobs weren't there. Okay, this is very important. Now, import of manufactured goods from British India at dirt cheap prices, and finally the land of the landed aristocracy like zamindars etc. was seized. This status quo was they were testing their status quo on what authority they are holding these lands, and finally there was loss of status in the eyes of feudal public. The India was very much feudal till then, no matter what everyone else says, we were very feudal, and they were very furious and they were very angry because of this. So everybody was literally want to kill Britishers some way or the other. Now socio-religious reforms like Christian missionaries came, so there was official missionary nexus there. Okay, they were allowed to preach openly, so they thought that Hindus and Muslims will be converted to Christians. Now reforms like Bengal sati regulation by William Bentinck, which lead to abolition of sati. Hindu widows remarriage act by Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar helped in that. Promotion of women education by Savitribai Phule, who was the first woman teacher, and her husband Jyotiba Phule. Then there was, so these all led to thinking that British wants to take over our religion, take over our social policies. Then there was Religious Disability Act, that also called as Lex Loci Act. What it did is it made it easy to convert anyone into Christianity. So earlier ancestral property was not allowed if you converted, but now you can inherit it even if you convert to after religious conversion into Christianity. So that also was a very painful point. Then introduction of taxation of lands of mosques and temples, very very furious point. Then there was various issues with sepoys, like they were not allowed to wear marks which can identify one sect or caste. Then proselytizing means changing into other religion or belief. There was rumors going around that army people are changing them to Christianity. Then there was General Service Enlistment Act. Earlier Hindu thought that crossing sea will lead to loss of caste. So it wanted undertaking serving that they can serve anywhere as the need be. So obviously it was a very painful point for them. Then there was less pay, discrimination in promotion, racism, inferiority complex. Then annexation of Awadh obviously was a very big deal. These two, bone dust was there in Atta. Then Enfield rifle, the cartridges were greased and they needed to be bit off before the usage. And there was rumor that they were laced with pig fat, which was very oblivious. The Muslims were completely against it, and beef fat, Hindus were completely against it. Then Post Office Act 1854 abolished the privilege of free postage for sepoys. So these were various reasons, okay. And then in Awadh, what happened is sepoy is nothing but peasant in uniform, so their heart will beat for rural area, right? 70,000 people were from Awadh, so every farmer family had one person serving in the army. So not only their lands were snatched, but it was annexed also, as I have already told, on the ground of misgovernance. There was extreme taxation and painful land revenue system. So sepoys just wanted to do something about it. So finally, as you can know, that there was simmering discontent. People were furious. It was a pressure cooker like situation. There was suppressed anger, pent up emotions, any phrase you want to coin. It was completely unleashed through this violent revolt. It was necessary rather. Revolt acted as an outlet, and finally the people were relieved to a certain extent, and British Empire was shook to its foundations. Everybody, farmers, merchants, rulers, religious heads, artisans, sepoys, landlords, they all participated in one way or the other. Region-wise, it was different, but people from all classes participated. So this is one of the images. As you can see, people are fighting. People are fighting with pikes and they were fighting with guns. So that's all. I'll continue this revolt series. Thank you for watching this lesson. Have an awesome day. Do leave your feedback. Thank you.